You did more prep work than I did.
Amen to that. I looked through my collections and grabbed some stuff.
Yeah. You did more work than I did.
Yeah, that's one.
We are talking about D-listers and any other form of D-listers. If you don't know what a D-lister is, Tony, tell them what a D-lister is. That's correct, Tony. Now, what we're going to do is...
Jared Wade, ladies and gentlemen. D-lister extraordinaire.
Tell them what a D-lister is, Tony.
D something. A D-lister would be someone that you would consider on the peripheral of your memory, whether it's a character, an actor, somebody that's not necessarily integral to a story. A movie could exist without this character. A movie could exist without this actor. This actor you haven't seen in many other movies. I would almost venture to say that if you can't remember this actor in this specific role, you may have never seen this person again. Or, you know their face but not their name. Or you know their name but can't put their face to it. Same thing with a comic book character. It's probably a D-lister's probably never had their own run of comic books, potentially a limited series, but nothing like seriously like a run of comics. Mm-hmm. A D-lister is somebody is there, but you can do without him if need be.
Sounds good. We actually are joined once again by my buddy Neal. Welcome back, Neal.
Thank you.
He's sitting very stoically yeah.
I think we've scared him with his D-list very strict definitions, and now he's like, "Oh God, did I pick the right people?" Or
it's D-list, and it was my idea too. Yeah. That's the sad part. It's like, hey, let's do D-list stuff, and
I heard that once on the internet. Yeah, that sounds cool. D-list.
What did I do?
You set us up. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
So conversations this episode are going to be kind of rapid fire. We're just going to be talking right around the table, talking about whatever D-list actor, character, creation, anything in between. Since this is your formulation, Neal, I'm going to let you kind of kick things off with. Wow, Tony's got movies and everything. I didn't bring anything. I honestly did not bring.
I got some notes on my phone, and that's about it.
Diagrams. I have a diorama that I made this afternoon. Paper mache'd it.
I brought a PowerPoint. Can I borrow your laptop real quick? I don't have anything. All right, I'm gonna have to do some searching online to pull up actual names. I'm very underprepared for this entire episode, but it's kind of...
All right, Jared, kick us off.
So my first D-lister is John Oates. He was in this
from Hall & Oates.
Oh, wait, you've heard of him. Dang it.
Yes, but without Hall & Oates, I would never not heard him doing anything.
Exactly. Yeah. No, Neal is going to kick us off.
All right.
He's the one that's got a list. What kind of phone do you use?
It's the LG G3.
It's like a G3. I got a G2. It looks
like
a G3.
I like the G3. It's very nice. Big screen, big battery. You know what they say about phones with big batteries, don't you?
Nope.
Big phone case.
Oh, well, yeah.
Guaranteed broken within a day.
Never going to work after
Dropped
day
and cracked.
7. I looked at the G series, and I still ended up going... I might have to switch, because apparently LG's coming back out with some good phones. Yeah. Shoot. All right.
Fan. You got time.
I know.
When's your contract up? You got time.
I don't know. I think it's like another year and a half or so. The G4, G5 will be out by then. So, what's your favorite part about the phone?
The screen size.
Totally the front part.
The screen size is basically essentially a 2K resolution on the screen itself.
Oh.
So, I mean, everything looks great on it. I watch a lot of Netflix and YouTube on it, and that just looks awesome on it. And, I like the size.
I like it.
I like big phones.
and it cannot lie.
Yeah.
Hey-oh.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay, so D-listers.
Okay.
Go for it. Well, I had this idea of talking about D-listers. Originally, it was just going to be D-list comic book characters, but we kind of expanded it, kind of give us a little more room to breathe with.
Sure.
But this idea came from a comic book character that I loved. It was one of the first comic books I had ever purchased as a young man, and kind of fell in love with it, I think, just because it was my first experience with the comic book.
Right on.
Plus, in this comic book, this character new Spider-Man.
I feel like we want to try to guess who it is. You know, it's like a guessing game.
Let's see if we can do it. But he actually had his own run for about 50 issues and had a few comebacks since then. Never really majorly featured, and that character is...
Is he a villain or a good guy?
No, he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah. He worked with Spider-Man on and off. He had his own small little 50-run issue series.
Back in the 90s.
Back in the 90s with Spider-Man.
Is it Spider Pig?
No, it is not Spider Ham.
Spider Ham.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. I can't think of anything.
Darkhawk.
Darkhawk?
Okay.
Yes, Darkhawk.
Yeah.
Real name was Chris Powell. He was a young man who... His origin story is actually kind of a ripoff of a Daredevil. He
lost his hearing.
Who knew?
No.
What?
Because he sees his dad's cop, New York City cop, and thinks, he's a great person and, all this. But then he had followed him one night. I can't remember why. And witnesses his dad taking a bribe from a mobster. Gets upset and runs away and finds this amulet in a old amusement park. And that amulet allows him to transform into Darkhawk, which is actually what happens. His entire body is transported into the null zone. Mm-hmm. And that's onto a ship there, and that's where the Darkhawk android body is stored. They swap places. He can still control the body. He can fly. He's got these cool little grapples that shoot out of his arms, kind of like talons. And he's got a kind of laser blasts out of his chest and eyes, I believe, too. But you can't really find a lot about him. He's kind of been forgotten about over the years, and I always thought he was a cool looking character. Very unique looking, had a cool looking visor and wings for when he flew. Kind of popped out on the under the arm type wings, and it's just, like I said, it was one of my first comic books I ever owned, so that kind of just sticks in your memory. It's a comic book I picked up at a garage sale, and he was part of the New Warriors at the time.
Right.
And,
I remember that. Was that Night Thrasher was on there?
I can't remember.
I think Night
all
Thrasher
the
was
characters.
one of them.
I remember one that the girl had crutches.
Yeah, was she like a computer programmer or something? Or that whole series is almost like relegated to D-list almost at this point. The New Warriors.
Interesting enough, Robert Kirkman did a series with called Marvel Mashups, Volume 3, The League of Losers, which Chris Powell, Darkhawk, is in, leading a group of D-list comic book characters who they have to go into the future and fight a guy, I can't remember the villain's name, and keep him from stealing a time machine, which is, I find it odd that they have to travel to the future to prevent someone from stealing a time machine. But
timey-wimey stuff there.
In the long run, Darkhawk winds up being kind of the leader of the group.
Gotcha.
And so that's my number one pick.
It's a good start.
D-list characters.
That's a solid. That's a solid D-lister.
It's a good start.
Well, that's why I started off with it, because I'm going to peak at first, and it's just going to be
downhill from there.
Downhill.
So this actor goes by the name of Gene Wilder. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him or not. Did a few small independent movies.
Yeah, nothing major.
All right, Tony.
Tony's
very festive. You're very festive today.
Thank you. It's the first day for because I refuse to do holiday Christmas time stuff before Thanksgiving. I can't get into the listening to the music. I try to walk right by the stuff in the store, But now that it's Christmas time, you can bust out Christmas time. So I got my ugly Christmas sweater on, ready to rock and roll. Trying to buy online. I need a second ugly Christmas sweater, and I found an amazing one on, I believe, thinkgeek.com. Has one, I love the Thundercats, classic 80s cartoon stuff. And there's one with a picture of Lion-O with a holiday hat on it that says Thundercats, ho, ho, ho. so trying to pick that one up next for my other Christmas outfit. But this one with the two reindeers humping on it is not a bad alternative. So yeah. But okay, do you want me to start with comic book stuff then? We're going with comics?
Go wherever you want.
I'll go comic book stuff. So I brought mine. My first one is a team. An entire team, similar to the New Warriors. is the Great Lakes Avengers.
Oh, awesome! Yes.
one of the extremely not well known Avengers series. They have only been good enough. I think they've been around in some fashion or other since the 80s, but they have always been on the extreme peripheral, and I think they kind of started out as a joke because there was the original Avengers stationed in New York City, then there was the West Coast Avengers that were over in LA and Hollywood, so there was this kind of absence in the middle of the nation, and it's just comprised of people who are just not good. I mean, you can see here in issue number 2 of their limited series, it says, does anybody want to join the Great Lakes Avengers? And it shows all the main superheroes all saying no altogether and walking away. Spider-Man and Wolverine and Iron Fist and Thor, nobody wants to be in this in this group. They feature really, really strange people. Big Bertha is one of the main characters. Mm-hmm. She is, you can see her there on the Great Lakes Avengers Christmas special. Big Bertha is a beautiful model by day, and then
Super
at night,
day.
and then at night she plumps up and becomes this big
Bertha.
Plus-sized superhero, yeah. So there is a Squirrel Girl is easily the most well-known of the Great Lakes Avengers, and even that well-known, I say extremely loosely, because not many people know of her, but her power is to control squirrels, or not control them, but just kind of talk with them, I think. And she makes consistently the list of Marvel's top 10 or top 5 lamest characters. I mean, she is just the worst. So
she's got a new book coming out, I think.
Yeah, she does. She's enjoying a little bit of a renaissance here with the Howard the Duck love, where the people are looking at these kind of kitschy characters and be like, oh yeah, this is kind of funny. But really, I mean, these characters don't exist without another bigger group, the Avengers. Like, they wouldn't even be a group if not trying to emulate another group. And they don't have powers that are even worth a regular superhero group's time. I believe in the first issue of the miniseries here, their leader actually dies, and they spend the rest of the time it's more like a whodunit type of thing. So a very random group, a really funny name. I mean, Great Lakes Avengers. I don't think the Great Lakes need an Avenger squad per se. It was.
I think part of they try to get Hawkeye to join them throughout most of the entire run, because I know he pops in every once in a while. It's a great book. I love it.
Yeah, it's very entertaining stuff. I mean, when they do pop up, it is highly entertaining stuff. But on the whole, it's just like one of those things where it's like, do we really need this? No. And it's definitely one of those things similar to your first pick, Neal, where it's, if it's not being featured in a kitschy kind of way, it's absolutely relegated to the bottom bin basement type of stuff.
Love it.
Hardly even acknowledging they exist. So,
all right. Well, I'll stay with the trend of comic book stuff then.
Cool.
And I'll play Neal's game of I'll give you guys hints and see if you guys can guess what it is.
I'm ready.
So, if you know me, you know that I love Green Lantern. Green Lantern by far has always been my go-to. And for a while, there was a card game called Versus. Mm-hmm. And did we ever play Versus?
No,
Neal?
we never did.
Okay. Did we talk about it at one point in time?
I don't think so. We were into HeroClix really big.
Yeah. Well, I might have used them in HeroClix. We got out of HeroClix before the Green Lantern set came out.
Yeah,
so we should play HeroClix.
I still got it at home. I play it with my son.
Yeah, I might still have. Do you have any HeroClix?
Just as long as you don't have that Sentinel still, because that thing was so OP.
Yeah, it was pretty. I liked it a lot. It was really good. Anyway, Green Lantern and the core were always what I loved, and we talked about it before, Tony. Mm-hmm. My personal thoughts on the Green Lantern movie, and my favorite part about the Green Lantern movie was being able to see all of the core, and granted they were all CGI, but just seeing thousands of different members of the core, and the D-list character for me is a Green Lantern Corps member, and I don't think you got to see him in the movie at any point in time, but he came into the Light War when a few years ago Jeff Johns redid things. He came into play and became not necessarily a mainstream character, but he definitely showed back up several different times. Nothing super fancy about the character. I just for some reason always loved him because he was kind of quirky and unique. Any ideas?
Is it the Squirrel Green Lantern?
No, it's not.
That was my guess. It was going to be one of the because I know there's been a few animal rookie hits.
That is close.
Years,
that is close.
But
that is very, very close. Yeah. It was a character called Gnort. G''Nort. Gnort.
Okay.
And he was like a humanoid dog. But he was very like lovable, and he was very just kind of doofy and hey, what's going on? But he came back into play when the Light War started up, and there was just something about Gnort. It was he was fun to play in versus. His ability in versus was really cool. He was able to do, I think, search for another Green Lantern member or search for another character named Green Lantern. So he could do some really unique things. And in the books, he was real simplistic. There wasn't a lot to him. And when I was thinking about what you had mentioned before about if he wasn't there, that's kind of what classified that D-level character. If Gnort wasn't there, then the world would still revolve and the universe would still be there. And he's done
his sector will be screwed.
Yeah,
he's not there, but we don't
I
know anything
remember
about
what
that.
sector he was. I can't even think. Anyway, but you can pull up information on Gnort. But there's just something about it. He did to kind of spearhead off of your Great Lake Avengers. Yeah. He was part of one of the sections of the Justice League, which I think Justice League and Antarctica or something like that. Another real left field.
Justice League Dayton.
So there you go. Mine was Gnort. So that's 3 solid D-listers right there.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, mine was DC. Yours is Marvel.
Mine's Marvel.
Yours was Marvel.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I have a second Marvel one too. We don't have to. I mean, for time constraints.
I was going to say, I got another comic book one, or we can move on to something else.
No,
or
stick with the comics.
We can do whatever we want. We're adults. Can't do that.
Okay.
Can't do that at all.
Sorry.
What was your second one, Neil?
Well, mine's a DC one.
Okay,
it is,
balance out the force.
Yes, actually a member of the JLA, but you got to remember there are times where the JLA was any comic book character within the DC universe. So, this gentleman's name is Zariel, I believe, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. He is actually technically an angel of heaven that has fallen and joined the JLA, and he's got big hawk-like angel wings, and
there's a connection with you and characters with wings.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of Red Bull with this guy here.
I don't like Red Bull. Do not like it. But he's a cool character. He's got Sonic Scream, of course, flight and all that jazz, and a big flaming sword, which is awesome.
Heck
but he appeared in the correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Jeff Johns run of JLA? Was it Jeff Johns or Mark? No, it wasn't Miller. Anyways,
I think it was before Johns.
Well, it was.
If I'm thinking
90s through the 2000s run of JLA, which was one of my favorites. I have almost all the trades for that series. And he popped up in that, and he was with the JLA for a short time, and he's actually has been brought back in the New 52 now.
Oh, cool.
Really? So, yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because they need 52 new ones. I did.
But I don't know. He's done some stuff with the Spectre and the New 52 and whatnot. So
no, you're right, Miller.
Was it Miller?
Yeah, and Morrison.
Grant Morrison. That's what I was trying to think of. Was Grant Morrison. I was way off.
Slappy, Swan,
Samsonite.
But yeah, I don't know. I like the design of the character. I like the idea of the fallen angel has always appealed to me for some reason.
Sure.
I just liked it. I can't explain why. Just liked it. He was cool. So Zuriel.
Yeah.
I think that at its core is kind of the description or the definition of a lot of these D-list characters, especially in comics, are the ones that people like. They're not quite sure why they like it. It catches on to a few select people, but obviously they don't catch on like wildfire.
Yeah.
You know, like when Wolverine was first released, I'm sure they were like, okay, here's another member for the X-Men. This guy's got claws and he's really rage monster, and people identified with him for whatever reason. It's like, Wolverine, here's your own series, and here you can lead all the movies and things like that, you know. But for every Wolverine, there's a Jubilee or whatever, people that don't make any sense, a Dazzler, things like
Sparklers.
that. So, right, exactly.
Freaking Jubilee. We're not talking about Jubilee.
Okay, no more Jubilee on this podcast.
Jubilee is not going to be here.
She's dead to us.
Ever. That's a solid pullback. I was going to talk about Plastic Man.
Oh,
but I didn't consider him to be a D-lister.
Yeah, because he's featured in a lot of the cartoons, especially because that was a big influence for me too. Growing up, watching the Justice League, the Batman animated series, the Superman animated series, that whole DC animated universe. It's so good, and I love it. And I tried to avoid characters that were featured on that because of that, because I thought, well, that's gets more exposure than some of these actual comic-only characters.
They're good enough to get to TV, yeah.
Like Etrigan, Jason Blood. Yeah, it's one of my favorite characters, but he's not really well known. But he is featured in the animated universe, and so it's like the Vigilante, and what's the other guy's name? Shining Knight.
Yes.
So
those are solid. Those are solid. What's your other one you had, Tony? You said you had two.
Yeah, I'll make you guys guess for this one.
All right.
I won't make you guess, but I'll give you an opportunity to guess because this one is it's another team.
Okay.
It's another Marvel team.
Oh, of course, Marvel.
I make mine Marvel. So this is a team that's been around in the Marvel universe since the 60s. And has seen many different incarnations in the 60s and 90s. We're focusing on the classic team, the 60s and 90s team here.
I think I might know what it is.
Okay, and this is a team that exists in the future. In the 60s and the 90s.
I know. I definitely know what it is.
In the future.
I think if you listen to the podcast, you'll know what the answer is to this.
Okay.
So Neal,
listen to the podcast. I swear.
Well, yeah, all right. Yeah, why are you even here? So
I know what it is, but I'm going to let Neal try to guess it.
The group, even though they existed in the future, they existed in the Marvel of the 31st century. And even though they existed in the 31st century, they conveniently found a way to time travel back to the current time a lot and deal with a lot of the current Marvel characters. So,
it's easy in the 31st century.
Yeah, right. So
go wherever you want to go.
Yeah, something like that. They were comprised of a bunch of different random characters, and I'll kind of explain why. My biggest reason for thinking that they are D-list is not necessarily because of the team themselves, but because of what they had to do in their adventures to remain relevant to mainstream Marvel.
And to be very clear, you're talking about the old team, not the new team that currently has a movie out.
They have seen a resurgence.
Oh,
they do have a movie that is soon to be on Blu-ray in just a few days. Yes, I am talking about the classic Guardians of the Galaxy, not the remake version. What you saw on the screen, on the big screen, is a remake from 2008 forward, where they focused on telling the story about the team, about the characters, really delving into the team. What they did, the Guardians, starting in the 60s and moving through, when I spent a lot of time with them in the 90s. Pretty much, they were an excuse for Marvel to kind of look at what if scenarios and kind of see this is what our system looks like in the future, and this is what it's going to be, this and that. But every issue was less concerned about the characters of the actual Guardians themselves and more about who they were going to meet in the Marvel universe. They were very much. It was almost like the team was a crutch or was a peripheral to how they could make other Marvel characters look in the future or whatever. I mean, it's that way through the entire run of the 90s. The 90s had about a 25-issue run, and there was one year even where they did a crossover, the Korvac quest. They crossed over into everybody else's annuals, the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, Thor, Spider-Man. They crossed into all the other annuals. But every time, like the very first thing that they did in the series was they met a group of aliens called the Stark. And the Stark was an alien group, or like aliens that were living on a planet that one of Tony Stark's Iron Man costumes fell onto, and they took that technology and reverse engineered it. So now everybody's got a piece of Iron Man based technology, on them throughout their culture. So it was, they're having their own thing, but Iron Man, and then, the next big thing they did was they're going to go on a mythical quest for Captain America's shield, indestructible shield, because they're going to go find it. Captain America, they met the Phoenix of the 31st century. Phoenix. They went to a world of mutant descendants. It was run by Wolverine's descendant, Rancor, a girl named Rancor. Wolverine. You know, they just had to name drop. Towards the end, they went back to Earth, and Earth was being run by a gang, like a vigilante gang called the Punishers, and they were all dressed up in the Punisher outfits. A Punisher. You know, it was like they met the Ghost Rider of the 31st century. They met Thor of the 26th century. The group could have been swapped out with any number of characters because it was what Marvel character can we take and make futuristic fancy this week. So that's why my original Guardians of the Galaxy is a pick for D-listers, because in their home environment before their relaunch, they were really, really peripheral, like backseat to everything that was going on, even in their own comic series.
That's pretty
Interesting.
wild. It feels a lot like Exiles. Did you ever read Exiles?
Yeah.
It feels like it's Marvel revisited that and said, all right, we've got all these different universes. How are we going to attempt to at least pull them together or do... I'm a big sucker for alternate take or universes or whatnot.
Right.
And, you know, what if Hulk actually was bad? Or what if Magneto died at the hands of Xavier or whatever else? I thoroughly enjoy Exiles. If I had to choose a book just to be able to read over and over again, Exiles would probably be one of those because it always changes. It's always very, very unique. I like that. Good call.
Yeah.
As soon as you said the 60s version of it, not the more recent one, I was like, oh boy, Neal's not going to know what this is.
Well, I mean, you can't think of, I mean, Guardians obviously is the biggest grossing Marvel movie this year and all, you know, third highest of all time, whatever. But they have a rich history that is not even remotely included in the movie. The only thin connection that the new movie has with the old Guardians, I guess, is twofold. Number one, the Collector has been around in the Marvel Universe since the 60s. The Collector was in the 60s Guardians. And then there is a character in the 60s and 90s Guardians, Yondu, played by Michael Rooker in the film. But Yondu is a good guy, but he's got this huge fin. You know, in the movie, he had this little red thing that would light up. He's got this huge red fin. This is him here. You can hardly tell, but he's like this good, like noble warrior. I'm not sure how they transferred him over to be like a bad guy in the movie, but
I actually haven't seen the movie yet.
Okay, well, when you see the movie,
you haven't seen Guardians yet?
So.
I never got a chance to. 4 kids, man.
Wow.
I got 4 kids. Do you know how hard it is to go out to get?
We'll watch it.
Yeah,
it's going to be purchased. It's probably going to be a Christmas present, and that's okay with
me.
Yep. So I'm all right with that. All right, Neal, where are we going to next?
You.
Well, I gave mine, or do I need to start the next?
Your second one.
You've only given one.
Do you want to move us on to movies or actors?
Yeah, do that.
All right,
Mr. Host guy there.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about actors. Yeah. So Neal, give us your D-list actor. Yeah.
You don't have anything, do you?
Yeah, no, I don't. No, I do. I actually do.
All right.
Well, you know what? Okay, hang on. I did have a second, and I'll make it really, really quick.
Go for it.
But I did have a second comic version, and it was Morph. Morph from Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Morph from Age of Apocalypse was not the same Morph that you saw in the old X-Men cartoon.
Right.
Very, very different Morph. But that's another reason why I enjoyed Exile so much, was Morph from Age of Apocalypse was in or was part of, and his attitude was very, very similar to Plastic Man from the DC universe. I thoroughly enjoyed. I feel that you have to have that humor, and if it's too dark, it's just as bad as it being too humorous or too light.
Sure.
If it's too fluffy, there's not going to be any sustenance to it. If it's too dark, you're not going to really want to read it because it's going to be depressing. So Morph was always it balanced everything out, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. So Morph was my second one. So in your face, and in your face, and in everybody else's face.
All right.
Wow.
So actors.
It's not a competition.
Actors.
Actors.
It is now.
Yes, sir.
It's definitely a competition. And I'm winning. Points for me.
Okay.
Not for you. Neal.
Points mean nothing.
Points mean nothing unless you're me. Then they mean everything.
All right. Yeah, my D-list actor is a guy that, again, you probably would recognize if you saw his face, but you want to be able to put a name to it. He's been in a lot of stuff. Been in a series of movies that I love unabashedly, even though they're absolutely horrible. It's Treat Williams.
Treat.
Treat Williams.
Treat Williams.
Sure.
And the movies that I'm talking about are The Substitute. Now, he wasn't in the first one, but he did the next 3 movies. So they're, straight to DVD, straight to home video, stuff, just low budget, but I don't know. There's something about it. He's this ex-special ops guy that goes undercover as a teacher at these different schools. First one's like a public school, like a downtown, real rough neighborhood public school. And then in the next one, he's in a military school. And, he gets beat up to kids. And that's always entertaining, I think, when an adult finally gets to beat the crap out of a snarky teenager.
Sure. And to win.
That's right.
For society.
So Treat Williams, don't know why I like him. I like his stuff, and whenever he pops up, he was recently on CSI on a couple episodes, and I don't think I've seen him in any movies as of recently that I can think of, but just one of those guys when I see his name pop up, I'm like, hey, I know him.
Sure. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, it's definitely one of those, and that's kind of what we're shooting for. We're like, hey, yeah, this guy, of course I like. And then when it's over, you're like, okay, next, right? And then you forget about him again. So yeah, or most people do.
Definitely
anyways,
someone I would never name to go. If I were to cast this comic book series, I want Treat Williams as
right.
Insert
Treat who?
Yeah,
Nice. That's a good one.
Very good.
Tony, we're just going to keep going around. I'm pulling up my
Cool.
stuff
Yeah,
right
we'll
now.
go roundtable style here. So, mine is a comedian. Not a I would say probably a well-known comedian when you hear this person's name, but before you hear the name, you're not going to think of this person. Started on Saturday Night Live, but even having said that, if I ask you to name the top 50 Saturday Night Live people, this person may not even be on that list. But it seems like everything he does, I enjoy him in it. But I gotta be honest, it's probably mostly most people, if they say, yeah, that was cool or he's funny, it's probably mostly because of the voice. It's John Lovitz.
Oh.
See there? That's exactly the reaction I was gonna get. Oh yeah, John Lovitz. Like when I think of him, like on Saturday Night Live, goofy characters, primarily vocal type stuff. Yeah, that's the ticket. Goofy vocal stuff. He had a very short-lived cartoon series on ABC called The Critic. Phenomenal. Yeah. It stinks, but that's again, it was that voice. I mean, even when he's in other movies and things like that, he's usually playing like when he's in A League of Their Own, he plays the ratty manager, and he's got the crazy voice. You only remember him because of kind of he's almost a voice actor that somehow accidentally gets on TV,
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
But I really everything I've seen him in, it's enjoyable to me. I'm not saying I would actively seek out John Lovett's stuff, but if I saw his name on something or I knew he was in something, I would probably give it a go. Just because I think it's also possible. I was a huge, still am a huge Phil Hartman fan.
Yeah.
And when Phil Hartman passed away, he was in the middle of a series on NBC called News Radio. Yep. A phenomenal series. And when News Radio came back, Phil Hartman's character had passed away in the off season. They didn't try to replace his physical character, but his character on the show played one of the news anchors on the news radio station. So the anchor position had to be refilled, and it was refilled by a character played by John Lovitz. So I think sometimes I get that connection of that, that Saturday Night Live, same time, same kind of Phil Hartman, again, a phenomenal voice actor, did a lot of the Simpsons work, things like that. So I think my brain makes that connection naturally, and that's kind of why I think of John Lovitz a lot more than the average person maybe.
I like it.
Good pick. I like that, yeah.
I was not expecting Lovitz.
Yeah.
And he does have a very unique very unique sound. All right, I don't know if I should give you the name or if I should give you stuff that he's been in. He's
throw it at us.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't look here. This is my screen.
I'm not looking.
You
I'm
can't
just
look
getting
at
close to the mic.
anything.
I'm not looking.
This popped into my brain from watching The Blacklist. He has been
James Spader.
That's too easy, right? Not James Spader, is it? Okay, I'm like, that's way too easy.
It is not James Spader. But he has been in... If he's ever in anything where he's a lead, it's always direct to DVD. It's nothing that comes out.
All right. I've never seen The Blacklist, so
you've never seen The Blacklist.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm out of luck there.
Let's see what else I can find here for you. He was in he's done a lot of video game work. He's been in NCIS Los Angeles, and that's after 2 pages of just random things. He was in a movie called Jewtopia.
Wow.
Jewtopia. He was in Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. That massive hit.
Okay.
There's a couple movies that I think it's going to spark more than anything else. He was in a little movie and a little show. I'm sorry, not the movie, but a show called Transformers Animated. He was also in. Oh man, I don't want to give it away too quick.
Peter Cullen.
He was in quite a bit of Prison Break.
Never saw that
Dominic
either.
Purcell.
Dominic Purcell. No, not Dominic Purcell. He was in Bad Boys 2. The movies that
Martin Lawrence?
I'm making them. No, not Martin Lawrence. Not Martin Lawrence. He was in a movie called Armageddon. That's probably one of his biggest movies that he was ever in. He normally plays a Russian.
Peter Stormare.
Peter Stormare, yes.
Okay, okay.
Recently on The Arrow as Count Vertigo.
There we go.
Fancy.
There is something about this guy that, in Blacklist specifically, he showed up, spoilers, FYI, he showed up at the end of season 1, big beard and everything else, and in Blacklist there's a lot of misdirection that happens. And Maggie and I were watching it, and I saw him pop up, and he was just a run-of-the-mill guard or whatnot, and she's like, she couldn't figure out what was going on. I'm like, it's him. I know it's him because...
Yeah,
it's him.
He's a big enough actor that he's not going to get just a bit part in the background.
He sometimes does, though. In random movies,
it's been
more
than
anything else.
Yeah, but it's always a speaking role. Though,
yes,
that
he's got that really. It's almost like a Lovett type of an effect, where if you hear him, you're like, "Oh, I know exactly who that guy is. I can tell you in any form or fashion what he's going on."
American, Russian, all made in China.
Yes, I'm going to save you now. I think he was actually in Jurassic Park: The Lost World. I mean, this dude's been in everything.
That's right.
He was in The Big Lebowski.
Eaten by all the little dinosaurs in Lost World.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's in Fargo.
I like him. That's
22 Jump Street. He's just kind of all over the place. So there's another one that I had, and I'll go ahead and give my second one because I'll go really, really quick. He might be more of a B-list actor than a D-list actor.
Yeah.
But there's a guy, weird looking dude. He passed away many, many years ago. Marty Feldman. If you don't know who Marty Feldman is.
Oh, is that the guy with the the eye?
Yes.
He's got the.
He played Igor in
Young Frankenstein.
Oh, great movie.
He he did a whole bunch of Monty Python stuff as well. So if you're a Monty Python fan, look up Marty Feldman and just be looking for him. But oh my gosh, he's another one of those guys that if I saw him on a show, if I was like flipping through the channels and I saw Marty Feldman, if I saw his eyes, because his eyes are his distinguishing mark. If I saw his eyes, I'd be like, I want to check this out a little bit more. I want to see what exactly is going on. But he had a great relationship with Mel Brooks, and he had a great relationship with Monty Python. So looking for somebody good comedic actor. There you go.
Very cool.
Awesome.
So. You guys have another one? You guys want to throw it out there? We got time. We'll do last couple ones real quick.
All right, real quick. Well, my last one is another actor that he had a pretty big part in the TV series. He's pretty much only done TV. Pretty big part in the long-running TV series. But since then, hasn't really done anything at all. Hasn't been able to quite move on. He's made guest appearances here and there. But when I see him, he's someone who I will actually look up because I enjoyed him as an actor in the main series that he was in, and see what he's doing and try and track that stuff down. But
William Shatner.
How'd you know? No, it's not William Shatner. There is star in the title.
Stars in his name?
No. The title of the show that he was known for.
Search?
No.
Trek?
Starman?
No, it's Trek. Stargate. Stargate
Oh.
SG-1. Michael Shanks. He played the role of...
You don't remember.
I just totally blanked on it after talking him up and how much I loved it.
It's Guy Mansworth.
Oh man, why did I blink like that?
Because it wasn't. He wasn't the lead scientist. He wasn't
the doctor.
He wasn't the general.
God, wow, this is embarrassing.
He was James Spader.
Yes, he played James Spader's
Oh, he did. That's
role.
He took over the scientist role.
Daniel
He
Jackson,
took over the scientist role.
Gosh, wow, I'm an idiot. I'm never going to be on again, am I? Nope. But yeah, Michael Shanks though did a great job in SG-1 as Daniel Jackson, and like I said, he's popped up in a couple other of my favorite TV shows. He was on Burn Notice for a little bit there, and popped up in Supernatural, and has done some home video sci-fi stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, good actor, but just unfortunate that he's never gotten anything more than SG-1, which, I mean, that lasted 10 years for him.
Right. He's doing all right.
So, yeah, I mean...
I see him at the conventions.
Absolutely. That's a good one. That's a good call. I like him.
Yeah, SG-1, Stargate SG-1 is one of my favorite. I'd put it almost above some of the Star Trek series that I like. But SG-1's great.
SG-1 was good. I never really got into Atlantis.
It took a while for them to get into their own.
Yeah, they had to find a groove, and none of their spin-offs, Atlantis or SG, really couldn't match what they were doing. So
Stargate still holds up, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
The original movie.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can still watch that. You got anything else, Tony?
Yeah, I got one. We'll play a little 6 Degrees of, because this is a guy that has been in a ton of movies. You might not even recognize his name. I mean, it's very conceivable, but he's been in a ton of quality movies in very bit roles. He speaks. He's got, he is a character.
Okay.
But it's very hard to recognize him if you're not looking at him.
Okay.
This could be another one of those where you go, oh yeah, that guy, that type of thing. Beetlejuice. He was in Beetlejuice.
Okay.
He's in Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of a name. I know exactly
He's
the
in
character.
Devil's Advocate.
He was the bigger guy.
Yeah,
the
redhead.
uncle. I can't think of his name.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, he was the principal.
Yes, Jeffrey Jones.
Oh,
Jeffrey Jones.
Yes.
I love me some Jeffrey Jones. And I don't know why. I do know why, because he's a great actor, but he's clearly not suited for that main action guy role. But if you need an uncle or a dad, or if you need that quirky,
And he usually plays someone kind of sleazy too.
yeah,
He fits
either
into
sleazy
that
or
role.
goofy. He kind of runs those lines. I brought with me. I have one movie in my collection that combines Jeffrey Jones and John Lovitz, my 2 picks. Mom and Dad Saved the World. If you haven't seen this movie, it was on HBO and then it went direct to DVD. Like this is back in the 90s.
Yeah.
I remember this.
Phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I laugh so hard at this movie. And Jeffrey Jones, this is the one thing I think that he actually got to be the lead character. He and John Lovitz kind of split the lead role as the good guy and the bad guy.
With Terry Garr,
Yes.
who was also in Young Frankenstein,
Yep.
which pulls in my Marty Feldman.
Terry Garr. Yeah, I mean, you could play I feel like you could play 6 Degrees of Jeffrey Jones. Who else is in there? Wallace Shawn, who is another B-list guy who
Eric
you recognize
Idle.
for The Voice,
Eric
Princess
Idle.
Bride. Eric Idle. Kathy Ireland was in there before she, when she was a swimsuit model, before she switched to being a Kmart shill. But yeah,
And
Jeffrey
the Talking
Jones.
Dogs.
Yes,
Good
yeah,
art.
it's got the whole crew there. So yeah, Jeffrey Jones is my other pick. He's a great guy. If I saw Jeffrey Jones name in something, I'd probably go watch it.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Well, I hope everybody enjoyed our D list or B list or C list or whatever we want to call this. Neal, thanks for coming out again, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'd love to come back if.
Never.
Yeah, we'll check with the
Especially
board of
after-
directors and see what happens. See what the vote is.
We'll see what happens. We'll call up. What is his name? I can't remember the guy's name now.
That's why they're B-listers, because you forgot their names already.
Oh,
D-listers even.
yeah, Dr. Daniel Jackson. That's what I'm thinking. We'll call up Dr. Daniel Jackson and make sure that you can go. Anyway,
You're not going to let me forget that, are you?
nope, never.
Hey, what's that one guy's name on Star Trek, Neil? Huh?
Hey, what's
Stargate.
up? Yeah.
Gotcha.
All
I'm
right.
going to shut up now.
Have a great day, everybody.
Choo.